thank you, John, for those words. They came from the heart. I have just as much respect for you. My brother is a retired Master Sergeant, Special Forces, Ranger, Airborne, served in the Ranger, 2nd Ranger Battalion. Served in the 82nd Airborne Division, jumped into Panama, you know, combat jump into Panama in 1989, and served proudly his entire career, and was one of the original horse soldiers in Afghanistan in 2000. My brother went into Afghanistan not only as the team sergeant, but also the team leader. And he was so highly regarded by our group commander and our chain of command that they made a decision to send him in as the team leader, as a sergeant, and not assign an officer who would just probably get in the way, to be honest with you. And I tell you what, that's unheard of. And, you know, he is a combat warrior. He is a great father, a great husband, and, you know, your comments up here really honor me, and I want to thank you very much. So what do we do here tonight, right? Well, I got to tell you, and I don't think this is hyperbole, we are at a fork in the road. And we're not at Yogi Berra's fork in the road, where if you take it, doesn't matter which fork you take, you still get to his house. Remember, that's what he said. Everybody makes fun of him, right? When you get to the fork in the road, take it. That's how you get to my house. Pretty amazing. But anyways, you go to the left and we'll go into Marxism. You go to the right and we'll maintain our nation. And we need to be aware of that. We need to be aware that that is at stake. And if you can't see it, you need to start seeing it. You need to start paying attention, not to mainstream media, not to any of that garbage, but you need to start looking around. Because we are at a time in this country's history where everything that we have fought for could be phenomenal. Everything that we have dedicated ourselves to could be phenomenal. God has been removed from the public square over the last 50 years. And in the process of removing God from the public square, they have undermined our family values. And there's no apology for that either. They have twisted, turned, and strangled our family values. And while they were at it, they undermined the education of our children. Nearly 2 generations of children who grow up not knowing what the Declaration of Independence stands for, not knowing that God gave us our rights and He entrusted man to protect those rights, and now we're seeing a government that is not protecting those rights. It's circumventing those rights. It is no longer doing its job. And I firmly believe that. We have come to the point where our legal institution, our judicial institution, have all been corrupted. And it's been corrupted by people that don't understand what it takes to maintain freedom, what it takes to sacrifice for freedom, what freedom actually means. And when we look at it, we have to say to ourselves, how did this happen? And not reflect too much on that, but how are we going to change it? And when you look out there and you see divisive political parties who aren't using God, family, community, and country to bring us together, but to use those to tear us apart. Our Constitution, our preamble says what? To form a more perfect union. To ensure domestic tranquility. We have the exact opposite of that going on right now. We have an obligation to protect ourselves from all enemies, foreign and domestic. All enemies, foreign and domestic. And to identify those enemies. And to send them on their way. Right now, our economy is on the road to perdition. It will not survive. We will not see prosperity and livelihood in our future. Our grandchildren and our children won't see it. Our fiscal responsibility has now become fiscal irresponsibility. This nation is hurting. Now, there are many people in this nation who don't give that much of a thought. But I can tell you that when my wife and I, Sharon, deliver Meals on Wheels every Friday on Route 2 here in Manchester, we see that part of America that's hurting. And it's humbling. And it's hurtful to see. And that's what we need to remember. Those of us that aren't quite there must wake up. We've got to pick up that mantle. We must move forward. The safety and security of this nation is at an all-time low. I'll just go back 20 years. Look what's happening to this country because of open borders, because of the opioid crisis, mental health crisis, because people aren't paying attention to these very needs that we have inside our communities. This is dangerous. Look what we've done in Afghanistan. Look at the signal that that debacle sent China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. North Korea launches a missile. Iran reinvigorates their nuclear program. Russia continues its cyber attack on us. 4 historic attacks. Our critical infrastructure is broken. We don't have people in Congress right now that are standing up for the safety and security of Americans. They don't understand how to do it. You know why? Because they're too busy taking care of themselves. That's why. They are more interested in their well-being, in their special interests, in their lobbyists, in pandering to people that don't really care about the American dream, that want to undermine the American dream. My brother told you, I'm from Laconia, New Hampshire. I'm the son of a farmer. I never thought I would ever be standing on a stage like this, talking to so many wonderful Americans about the future of our nation. I joined as a private because my grandfather said, if you're a Bolduc, you serve your country. Period. End of discussion. We didn't argue. We did it. Because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what Americans do. They give back. Particularly those of us who have been given so much. I went as a private, a sergeant. Next thing I know, I'm a lieutenant. Whew. Next thing I know, I'm married.
That was a high five.
Is that a promotion?
A wonderful woman. I have 3 children. I have 3 grandchildren. They're the best, but when my grandson comes home, who's 8 years old, and he looks at me and he asks me why he's bad because he's white, we got a problem.
Yeah. Critical race there.
I want our children and our grandchildren taught reading, writing, and arithmetic, not reading, writing, and racism. Jobs protected. We have healthcare professionals in here. We have nurses in here who were on the front line. COVID, right? And our political leaders needed them out there. And they said, you're out there. You're on the front line. We held them as heroes. And now, because they won't take a shot, the same political leaders want them fired. That's wrong. That's wrong.
Damn right.
It's not right. It's not right to do that to our law enforcement. It's not right to treat them that way. Defund the police? No, defund politicians. We have to rededicate ourselves to a future for our children and our grandchildren.
Yes, we do.
We cannot, this generation and the generation in front of me cannot hand this America over to the generation behind us.
Amen.
We can't do it. We met World War II veterans, Korean War veterans. They didn't hand us that. And we can't hand that to them. And General Flynn will talk about that because he's talked about it all day. And I agree with it 100%. We can't allow that to happen. We must not. Now I think that a winning formula is God, family, community, country.
Right on.
Underpinned by the American First agenda of a strong economy, fiscally responsible government, a government that protects and secures and provides a safe world and country for Americans. Right? This is hugely important. Hugely important. I look out in this crowd, I see a lot of people I know. But I want to tell you something. In 1991, when I was in Iraq, northern Iraq, I was on the ground, up with the Kurds. And we know what happened to those Kurds. They were gassed, they've been shot, they've been hung, they've been tortured by Saddam Hussein's regime. We know this. We know this to be true. And I was on the ground as a young, newly promoted first lieutenant. Oh, no. Seems like a long time ago. But I'm looking at a man in this audience, a man who was a child on the ground. I didn't know him, but he was there. And he was suffering. And he suffered under that regime. And he just got back recently from visiting his mother, who was still there. And so I'm running around northern Iraq, where more American flags were flying off the mud huts than you could ever see, right? And then when they told us we had to leave, because unfortunately that's what America has done much too often after World War II in Korea, right? We got to stop that habit. We got to stick it out. We got to win. That young boy is now a man with a wife and a family. He got his citizenship by joining the United States Air Force. And I'd like to introduce you to Ross. Please stand up. See, this isn't about me, it's about you. And I promise you, as your United States Senator, that title belongs to you. That Senate seat belongs to you. It doesn't belong to me. And I said last election that you don't have to call me Senator because that's your seat. Call me Don when I become your senator. And my smart-ass opponent said, well, I'm not going to call you senator either. Right?
Swap.
Okay? Completely missed the point. Completely missed the point. And that's my point. Is there's too many people out there that don't get it. And we got to identify them, and we got to get rid of them.
Now we do.
So, I got to tell you something. Last election, I was called a left-of-center guy, a guy that couldn't be trusted with the conservative mantle, a guy who in one venue, as a veteran, is a hero, a great leader, and a great patriot of New Hampshire, and in another venue is the exact opposite. Now, how can that be? And I was characterized that way by both sides of the aisle, right? So, what is it?
You're a hero.
Thank you. I'm a state college grad, and I took a test.
Everybody, let Don.
Yeah. I am a state college grad. And I took a test, and that could be dangerous. But I want to call up John Paul, and I want him to explain to you the test I just took, and why the test I just took is so important, particularly to you, because it should put to rest all the questions about where I stand. John Paul, would you come up here for a second? John Paul ran for Congress in Massachusetts last time, had the same experience I did. So we're kind of, right? Yep. We're kind of brothers from another mother. So, here you go. Give it to him. Quick.
I'll give it quick. I'm very humbled to be here tonight around so many heroes, including General Flynn and General John Bolduc here, and this guy needs to win. And we have a way to do it now, all right? So we're very humbled to have General Bolduc at our event for we're in Grand Opportunity USA. It's a nonprofit out of Boston, but it's national. And our message is simple. Shouldn't government be giving us more opportunity? Yes. And not less? And shouldn't it work for the people?
Yes.
Okay, it seems like common sense, but there's not much common sense in this country right now. So, my team and I, we have one of our analysts right here, spent hours and hours and hours, days on writing people like great patriots like the general here. Don took signed an opportunity pledge to stand for opportunity for America across 5 principles of opportunity: personal, economic, social, educational, and national. And Don got the highest score of any politician in the nation.
Whoa!
4.8 out of 5. He beat Tim Scott by 0.5%. Tim Scott was 4.75, he was the highest. So the this way. We talk a lot about, a lot of negative things happening, right? I mean, we have a bunch of communists. I call them the Taliban party because I can't call them Democrats. I can't. They're much more like the Taliban, right, than they are Democrats? Okay. So, yes, but we also have people on our side, on the Republican side, that aren't doing a great job, right? All right, so how about we create a rating system that's based on what the people want, pro-American ethical priorities of what the people want. So we spend hundreds of thousands of hours looking at what the people want across 30 different metrics. And guess what? 70 to 80% of the people are on our side. We own it. We got it. Across all these things that matter, it's not a divided country. It's a divided country versus the elites. But we have 70 to 80%, which is a pretty good odds versus what? 30% of Republicans in the country, 70 to 80% are supporting these guys that Don supports. And it's not just what he wrote in his survey. We cross-check everything. We look at their voting records, their social media, everything. It's like the FICO credit score. You step out of line, you get a ding, you do well, you go up. And I don't think Don's going to go to that 1%. I think he's going to go to a 5 when he gets into Congress. So let's make this happen, right? Let's make it happen. And we'll clean out all the garbage in Congress. Starting with Don. So if you guys go to go-usa.us, please endorse the op score. This will only work if everyone starts using it and spreading the word, demanding your politicians take the score, take the test like Don did. If we do, then Don will be elected, along with other great Americans. Okay? Thank you, Don. Thank you so much. Oh, and John Dolan this year, he has a special gift for you and your wife, Sharon. He has a special gift that he wanted to give to you quick.
Real quick.
Really quick. He asked me to bring this up.
It's something you had signed for us at the last opportunity. Can we get Sharon up here? And John?
So in Billerica, Massachusetts, this was signed by Vernon Jones and Don Bolduc and, all right.
Help me, dear.
Let me get a picture. Get closer.
Help me. All right, thank you.
No, it's not a gag here. This is something signed by General Mike Flynn.
That's what I'm talking about. All right.
Hey, one on, Sharon,
Yeah. That's right. Say again.
What's the last one to sign?
He's married.